In case you didn't know, The Walking Dead just ended. That's no reason for the fans to be sad, though. Many spin-offs are in the works, focusing on different character stories. But the fact that these were announced before the finale of TWD came out was pretty controversial amongst the cast, especially Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Let's get into all of this, plus the possible return of old Negan in the spin-off Dead City. First up, what did Jeffrey Dean Morgan say?
Then when you're some sort of screwed up, creepy stump with a head.
Jeffrey had a lot of executives at AMC upset. This was because he openly criticized the network's decision to tell the fans about the Walking Dead spin-offs before the series finale even aired. He spilled all the tea in an interview with Deadline, saying that he got into a lot of trouble just for letting everyone know what he thinks. Jeffrey Dean Morgan also added that his opinions hadn't changed still. Jeffrey also explained why announcing the spin-offs was a mistake. Morgan is dead set in his belief that AMC confirming that Negan will return detracted from the finale's tension. If the fans didn't know that Negan was returning, they wouldn't have been so relaxed. That's the fun of being a fan of TWD. You never know what will happen next or who will make it out alive. Jeffrey said that he feels the stakes could have been increased even further going into a finale episode if the audience didn't know what would happen next. If they don't know what the four main characters are doing or whether they're even surviving, it makes the whole experience of watching the show better. And we agree. Now that those four characters are getting spin-offs, the audience can just sit back and relax, and the series finale didn't hit the same. Imagine how much more effective the scenario in the final episode of that series would have been if you had believed Negan was going to die. Morgan is right about this. Now, what else did Jeffrey say?
Don't know. It seems like you're trying to speak.
The Supernatural alum took into account both sides of the argument. He acknowledged that it would have been challenging to keep the spin-off a secret considering the excitement around the series finale. The question remains, could the cast and crew have kept it a secret for this long? Most likely not, Morgan said. But hell, they should have tried. He said his main point was that if it seeps out or it leaks out somehow, that'd be the end. Even then, they wouldn't have had to address anything immediately. In the end, you can tell Jeffrey wanted to keep it a surprise. Now, let's look at the TWD series finale.
You answer to me. You provide for me.
Provide for you.
You belong to me.
With the November 20th airing of its final episode, Rest in Peace, The Walking Dead wrapped up its 12-year run. On October 31st, 2010, the post-apocalyptic series made its AMC debut with a 6-episode first season. It's crazy how fast time passes. The popularity of the show quickly skyrocketed, resulting in future seasons getting longer. Robert Kirkman and Charlie Adler's television adaptation of the well-known Image comics has been a hit for more than 10 years, and many spin-off projects are in development. These should satisfy the fans' thirst for the next few years, because they clearly couldn't get enough of just 11 seasons of TWD. What a bloody, tragic series finale that was. We were all expecting the 90-minute finale would be painful, when the penultimate episode ended with Judith Grimes, Kaylee Fleming,
Frankie learned in San Francisco. Hell, I might do it all at once.
Got some serious business to attend to.
being shot by Governor Pamela Milton, Layla Robbins, and all the characters who loved her were frantically trying to save her. When Daryl, Norman Reedus, barged into the hospital to beg for help in the first scene of the episode, he was stopped by Commonwealth troops who knocked him out. The horde of walkers is getting closer, and you can feel the tension. Thankfully, Judith is somehow awake long enough to have the energy to close and lock the doors before collapsing. Coming up, it's not a TWD episode without any casualties.
Horrific things that are going to go down here when we run out of food and water.
The first two victims of the night were Jules and Luke. Luke is a musician who was bitten, while the swarm attacks Jules. After this happened, Luke's friends somehow managed to get him to the hospital. Not before they locate the harmonica in his jacket pocket, though. Unfortunately, he ends up bleeding out at the hospital and dying. Luke makes his friends promise to play always as he dies. It was just so heartbreaking. Daryl, Carol, played by Melissa McBride, Judith, and the rest of the group eventually escape the hospital and discover where Tommy, played by Ian Anthony Dale, is. Yamoko's doctor brother begins treating Judith. While all this is going on, Coco and the other abducted babies are discovered by Rosita, played by Christian Cerritos, Eugene by Josh McDermott, and Gabriel by Seth Gilliam. They are forced to seek refuge in an ambulance because of the overwhelming swarm. Before going up a conduit and opening a window a few levels higher, they leave and manage to repel the walkers. Now, how does it all end?
Search the place, find them, tie them up, don't kill them, blow up every other house.
Eugene, the baby in his care, and Gabriel, who is also carrying a baby, thankfully make it to safety. The walkers drag Rosita down as she tries to climb up, but she eventually tumbles. Briefly, it seems like she's out of the picture. That's the classic TWD fake-out style. Thankfully for us, she returns and starts murdering walkers left and right. She climbs to the top of the ambulance, leaps to the pipe, and squeezes out through the window. Unfortunately, though, Rosita is bitten and her fate is sealed. She exchanges some final I love yous with Coco and and that's it. There's a lot more going on in the final episode, but it ends with Judith and RJ looking out at the landscape, saying that they're the ones who get to start over and can live. Moving on to Negan's future in the Walking Dead universe. The Walking Dead, Dead City, the impending spin-off of the popular series, might see the return of the original Negan, according to Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Negan and Maggie had one final conversation in the series finale of The Walking Dead, during which Maggie said that Negan had earned his position among the gang, but was unable to forgive him despite this. A one-year time jump at the end of the episode tells us that Negan and his wife, Annie, may have been living in Alexandria when he was last spotted straying from the group. Still, we don't know whether Negan and the survivors returned to the Commonwealth. In an interview with Deadline, Morgan hinted that the original Negan would make a comeback in the Dead City episode of Negan and Maggie's The Walking Dead spin-off. He explained that the events of Dead City would take place 2 years after the ending of the main series, which means that Negan had plenty of time to revert to his old ways. What else does Morgan have to say? He said that the problem with the gap between the years of the main series and the spin-off is that the audience has no idea what's been happening during them. Even though Negan had tried to adapt to the many ways of surviving when he was a member of the group, Jeffrey is concerned about what will happen to him and who he will become during these 2 years away from them. This means there's a huge possibility that the Negan we know isn't going to be there when we see him and Maggie back together in the spin-off. In the end, Jeffrey Morgan added, "I think it's a pretty good chance that he's not going to be that guy anymore because he adapts to his surroundings and things are effing rough. He's going to go back to some old habits." Next, what else do we know about the spin-off? The Walking Dead, Dead City is a spin-off and is going to be starring Jeffrey Morgan's Negan. It will see him team up with a very unlikely partner, Maggie, played by Lauren Cohen. Eli Jornet, a writer and co-executive producer on The Walking Dead, has been tapped as the executive producer and showrunner for the 6-episode debut season. The story of Dead City has not been fully revealed, but we think it will revolve around Maggie and Negan's journey into a long-since cut-off Manhattan in the post-apocalyptic setting. The dead and residents who have turned New York City into a world filled with chaos, danger, beauty, and fear are scattered across the crumbling city. Thankfully, the series is set to debut in 2023, so fans can immediately start. Finally, this isn't the only spin-off from the TWD series. Fans are getting ready to see Rick Grimes, played by Andrew Lincoln, and his long-lost love Michonne, played by Denai Guerrera, get together in one spin-off, which is also scheduled to broadcast in 2023. This is all thanks to Andrew Lincoln's unexpected reappearance at the end of the Walking Dead series. Producer Scott M. Gimple said that although it is an epic love story, it is also slightly tragic. All the best love stories are. After all, there's been a long separation between these two characters, and they must rediscover themselves and their love for each other. Scott also added that he hopes the spin-off will be mind-blowing and that the audiences will love it. That's a wrap for this video. What do you think of Jeffrey Morgan's comments? Are you excited about the spin-off? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you at the next one.